What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we're going to be going over and ranking our top linebackers right now in college football 25. Now, as far as if you're wanting me to go over and talk about a lot of the core elites, I just don't feel like that's necessary. Now, if a core elite is really good with good speed, I would talk about him in this video. But, you know, a lot of like the 83 core elites, maybe even an 85 that isn't necessarily super quick, they're just not going to be featured in this video. Now, if a card was a part of a promo, it does have a better chance to be in this video. But let's start it off with Abdul Carter and Colin Oliver. Now, they are different. Colin Oliver is a little bit quicker. Abdul Carter is going to do everything else a little better. I do think both of them are S-tier linebackers at this stage of college football 25. And I also do want to say, like, it's right now is not a bad time to pick up either one of these guys. And if you're wondering, well, Ty, why is now a good time? Well, a lot of people have went to Madden, which means the auction house has gotten relatively quick or relatively cheap. And if you want to kind of, I'd call them studs on the outside of your linebacking core, Carter and Oliver are absolutely a-okay for that. I have both of them still on my team, and both of them are really solid. Now, Collins is kind of the opposite of Carter, kind of the opposite of Oliver. He's not horrible, though. Collins has 84 speed. The thing is, he's not really a pass rusher. He's more of a cover type of guy, and that's the real thing for me. Like, if you want a guy that's going to, you know, play coverage, he's okay at that. But again, as far as like getting after the quarterback, not quite as good. I'm going to put him a tier below Carter, a tier below Oliver. But again, I do like Zaven Collins quite a bit. Perkins is another interesting card. Here's the thing. Harold Perkins is the level 50 card. Season 1 basically a reward. 87 speed is absolutely ridiculous, but his block shed is horrible. His finesse move or his power move is not good either. His tackling is not great. So I'm going to put him at A tier because he does some things really well on the field, but there's other things that he just does not do. He's just not a complete player in my opinion. I'm going A tier for Harold Perkins. And as I do go through this, I'm noticing a lot of these linebackers are really, really, really good. Roquan Smith, S tier. The best right now user, I do believe, in college football 25 that we have to offer. You guys can let me know down below in the comments if I'm wrong on that. Great speed, great field general, just does everything else. It does everything well on the field. And again, I've used a lot of players. I've used a lot of linebackers. To me, Roquan Smith, the best user we do have in the entire game. Micah Parsons, I think he's just as good as Collins, just as good as Harold Perkins Jr. Does things a little bit differently, but he does have 86 speed, so good speed. Gonna get after the quarterback as well as decent in coverage. I do think A tier is where Micah Parsons does belong. Bradley Chubb, throw him at A tier too. Barely worse than Roquan Smith. I do want to make that known. Bradley Chubb, one of the next best users in the entire game. I do think that Roquan Smith is better than Bradley Chubb. I just want to make that clear. I'm not saying that Roquan Smith is that much better, but he is better slightly. That's where he belongs. TJ Watt, I'm not a fan of TJ Watt. I'm on record for saying that, and I'm not going to switch up now. I do not love TJ Watt in college football ultimate team. I don't know what it is about him. To me, he's just like a worse Zaven Collins. Like, that's really where I'm at. C tier might be a little harsh for him, though, so I might have to move him up to B tier. Again, I'm just not necessarily the biggest fan of TJ Watt. When he came out, I realized he wouldn't be able to get after the quarterback, and that's true. I guess I'll put him at B tier. Just not my favorite. Ray Lewis, I'm going to put him at B tier. I actually really do like Ray Lewis at the middle linebacker position. I just think he's slightly worse than Bradley Chubb. Your levels are definitely here. Roquan Smith, S tier. Bradley Chubb, A tier. Ray Lewis, B tier. Definitely levels to it. Kendricks at this stage, I'm going to throw at D tier. Bryant Urlacher, C tier. I think there's specific levels at that middle linebacker position. And although Eric Kendricks is good for his value, he's probably C tier. I am not going to go D tier with where we're at right now. And honestly, you could actually have all these cards at the same tier. As I'm getting through this, I'm realizing this is pretty top heavy. We're starting with the heavy hitters, and then we're getting down here to the okay players. I think I like all of them at B tier. I'm going to throw 83 overall Ray Lewis at C tier and Urlacher at C tier as well. I do want to make it known I do like Ray Lewis slightly more than Urlacher, but I think both of them are equipped at C tier. D tier, I'll put this 82 overall Ray Lewis. I do want to say Tafiti, I really do like him at the outside linebacker position. Speed rusher, kind of can do it all on the field. And for that, I am going to throw him at C tier. I think, again, a guy that you can trust on your field to play the outside linebacker position. Definitely a card I like. Like him a lot more than Medrano. Not a big fan of Medrano in college football ultimate team. He's fine, just not a big fan of him. Joe Phillips, I'm going to throw him a D tier as well. Just okay. Alexander, D tier as well. A lot of these cards for like budget guys are okay. They're just not cards I'm super high on. French, he's okay for a budget guy, but I think D tier's got to be where he belongs. Harris, if you do like pass coverage, is that outside linebacker. So again, him and Phillips are completely different. But everybody has their own opinion on what they want their outside linebackers to do in college football ultimate team. So that's really what it comes down to. What do you want your outside linebackers to do? If you want them to play coverage, Harris is probably going to be better. If you want them to, get after the quarterback, be better in the run game, then guess what? Phillips might be your better option right here. Nick Martin up next. I really like Nick Martin, especially as a user, guys. Great speed. And just a middle linebacker, again, that is really solid. But is he as good as like 83 Ray Lewis? I don't necessarily think so. I think the card's fine. I love his speed. I love his ability. But I just don't think he's that next level good. Olave up next. Again, okay. A lot of these cards are just okay, though. 82 Urlacher. I'm throwing him at D tier as well. Now we get to the core elites. And here's where things get interesting, because I used to really not be a fan at all of any of these core elites. But as times went on, like, these core elites have gotten cheaper. Like, let's start it off with Campbell here, who's got 83 speed. Really good tackling as well. Not great in the pass game, but he's overall really solid, and he's only 85,000 coins. So how does Campbell compare to some of these other top dogs? I'm going to go C tier. Don't think he's as good as TJ Watt, but I do think he is A-okay with really solid speed. How does he compare to Barrett Carter? Again, Campbell, it says he's like, a good pass coverage guy. I don't really necessarily see it there. Carter, he's got 82 speed. Again, can get after the quarterback, a little bit decent tackler. He's more of a pass coverage guy than Campbell. I think Campbell's going to get after the quarterback a little bit better. Carter's going to be in pass coverage just a little bit more. Both these cards are fine. Not necessarily cards I love, but they can do the job, do the trick. Jay Higgins up next. Only got 81 speed. I'm going to put him at C tier. I just think it's really tough. I would love to run Jay Higgins and Nick Jackson. I would love to run them both in my middle linebacker positions. They're just not super quick, especially for Nick Jackson. He's only got 79 speed. It's tough when I see these other middle linebackers with way better speed for me to hype up Nick Jackson. Kobe King, if I remember correctly, has really good speed. Now, let me make sure on this. Kobe King, he's got 82 speed, really good hit power. Not great in coverage, though. And so that's the thing. I'll throw him at B tier. I do think he is deserving of that. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of him. Jack Kaiser up next. A lot of these cards, I don't see ran like at all because they are core elites. These are probably some of the most rare cards in the entire game. Kaiser, let's talk about him. 84 speed at the outside linebacker position. Can't really get after the quarterback, but in pass coverage is elite. So if you need a guy to again, play pass coverage, Kaiser is going to be the guy to do that. If you need a guy to get after the quarterback, not so good at that. Lawson up next. Let's talk about what he provides for you guys on the field. Let's go over his stats. What is it? Deontay Lawson? Deontay Lawson. He's got 83 speed. Again, really good tackler, good finesse move, power move. And he's really good. I'm going to put Lawson all the way up to B tier. I mean, he's one of the more complete guys on this list. Right now, at the time of recording this, he is 79,000 coins as well, which isn't honestly super expensive. I really like Lawson. I think you can have a lot of success with him in college football ultimate team. Jalen McLeod up next. Was it this Jalen McLeod? I had a McLeod on my team for a while, and I think it was this card right here. This core Jalen McLeod for me. He was always fine. Like, he got after the quarterback. He was a good tackler. He was always really fine for me. I'm going to throw him all the way. I'm going to throw him at C tier. It doesn't feel right putting him at B tier, so I guess I'll throw him at C tier. But Jalen McLeod, when I used him, was really, really, really always solid for me. Munden Jr. up next. Let's see. 83 speed. Again, good hit power, decent in coverage. I'm gonna go B tier. It's hard to separate these middle linebackers. It really, really is. The one thing for Munden is 83 speed. It is pretty impressive, but he's not as good as Ray Lewis, though. That's ultimately what it comes down to. If you're not as good as Ray Lewis, Urlacher, it's tough, but is he as good as Kendricks? Again, kind of a tough thing. A lot of these cards, especially the core elites, it's tough to rank. But I guess I'll throw them at C tier. Again, it's really tough. I would honestly just recommend, running Urlacher if it really came down to it. Our other Colin Oliver here. Now, it's crazy. I don't see any situation in which you'd run this Colin Oliver, considering the other one's like, what, 200,000 coins? I just don't see it. But he is going to get after the quarterback. Great speed rusher. He is exactly what the card says he is. C tier is where he belongs. Harold Perkins, I'm going to throw him a D tier. Again, the thing for Harold Perkins is he's just a weird outside linebacker. His tackling is going to be a little bit down. His block shedding a little bit down. Just kind of a really weird linebacker is Harold Perkins. And especially when we're talking, I mean, he's better than D tier, though. He's better than D tier. I'm going to move Oliver up. And I like this a little bit more because he's still better than these guys at D tier. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to. With PS, guys, you're looking at a guy that's going to be able to get after the quarterback. He is just not great at all when it comes down to pass coverage. So it's just about knowing what a card is going to do for you guys. He is, again, one of the best speed rush, pass rush guys in college football 25 Ultimate Team. But when it comes down to playing coverage, is going to leave a little bit to be desired. Desmond Purnell up next. He's a run stopper. It's kind of cool that most of the time, at least, it's accurate. So you know what you're getting out of these cards. So like, even if you guys are like on a really basic level, you know when a card's going to be better against the run or the pass. For Desmond Purnell, he's just, to me, not great. Not one of my favorite cards on this list. Not one of the favorite cards that I'm going to go over and talk about today. He's fine to run. I guess I'll throw him at C tier, but I'm just, again, not the biggest fan of him. David Reese up next. It says he's a speed rusher. Well, let's look at David Reese, and I'll be the one to tell you guys if he actually is a speed rusher. 82 speed, decent finesse move. I'm not a big fan of him. I'm going to go C tier. I don't see it a lot. And that's the thing with a lot of these core elites. They're all okay, but it's just, it comes down to what you specifically want, and most of them are going to be way overpriced for their specific overall. Kareem Reed up next, 82 speed, good hit power, good tackler, good cover linebacker. I'm going to just, again, throw him at C tier. A lot of it just comes down to whether you want a speed rush or whether you want a pass coverage type of guy. I do think I'll take Munden Jr. I know they're different positions over a guy like Reed, though. That's just where I'm at with the two. Ben Roberts up next, middle linebacker. Now, Ben Roberts looks like a pretty balanced middle linebacker. 83s across the board on the card. See, only 80 speed, though. Not great in coverage. Ben Roberts kind of stinks. I'm throwing him at D tier. That card kind of absolutely stinks. Matt Solopek up next. Okay, out of the University of Miami. 78 speed. Look, I'm doing it. I'm putting him at F tier. And I do not care what people say. If you get this card, you need help. This card stinks. And I'm sorry, but that card absolutely stinks. He's got 78 speed. I'm not going to sit there and hype him up. JJ Weaver, 83 speed. Good finesse move. Good tackler. Can't really cover anybody, but he's a really good speed rusher in college football. Ultimate Team, I'm going to go C tier. I think that's valid for how good the card is. Next up, guys, Debo Williams. Okay, Debo Williams, middle linebacker, run stopper out of South Carolina. Let's see what the card does do on the field. 81 speed, decent tackler, not a great cover guy. I mean, he's okay. He's okay. I'll throw him at C tier. He's okay. Not necessarily one of my favorite linebackers in the game, though. Williams up next out of Georgia. Okay, let's see what Williams does do on the court, and we'll talk about it for you guys. Left outside linebacker. It says he is a power rusher. Okay. Does come with 83 speed, good finesse move, good power move. Oh my gosh, this card's really good. The thing about Williams is he's horrible in coverage. And so that's the thing with him. He's a great power rusher, probably maybe even better than Colin Oliver when it comes to that specific skill set. But when it comes to playing any sort of coverage, he is going to be really, really poor at it. Barton up next, 84 overall, pass cover, middle linebacker. Okay, I feel like I've not seen anybody run Lander Barton yet. 83 speed, decent tackling, decent coverage. I'll go C tier. He's fine. Decent speed, decent user in college football ultimate team. Again, not one of my favorite guys. Not a guy I really recommend running a whole ton of. This guy's name's Power. Okay. Power Echols. Is that his name? Let's see. I really do like college because a lot of these guys have just kind of crazy names. Power Echols. Okay. 82 speed here. Decent tackler. I'm just not the biggest fan. I'm going to go D tier. And again, I have a lot of bias in this. So if a card is not good for their specific overall, it's going to show on this tier list. It shouldn't, but I'm just naturally biased. It's how it works. Anthony Hill Jr. If there's anything I know in regs, any player from Texas is fantastic in my book. In this, he's okay, right outside linebacker. He's fine. 82 speed. He's okay. I'm going to throw him at D tier, though. I just don't love him in this game. Jacob Manu up next. He's from Arizona, run stopper, right outside linebacker, 82 speed, decent finesse move, decent tackler. I'm going to go D tier again. I'm biased for these guys. A lot of these cards I'm going to move to F tier. Like a lot of these cards that I know I don't really love, they're going to go into F tier. I do like Phillips. I do like Martin enough to keep him out of there. But again, a lot of these cards I'm just not that big of a fan of. And even Cade, he's fine. But when it comes down to some of your better middle linebackers, he's not one of them. Greg Penn III up next. And just because the card here is on F tier doesn't mean they're unusable. These are your best linebackers in the entire game. So again, just because they're at F tier doesn't mean they're unusable. Penn, I'm going to go D tier. I like, he's fine. 82 speed, decent user, but there's just better cards to use in college football ultimate team. Cody Simon from the University of Ohio State. Or Ohio State University. Why do I act like he's from Miami? He's okay. 81 speed, decent tackler, D tier. Taylor up next. Now, this is a speed rusher from the Roadrunners. Okay, UTSA, the Roadrunners. Let's see what Danye Taylor gets into. 83 speed, good finesse move, decent tackler. I don't mind Taylor at all as far as a speed rusher. I'm going to throw him all the way up to C tier. You guys, if you notice anything about me, as far as an outside linebacker, I give the advantage to guys that are fast and can get after the quarterback. If they do those two things, I'm going to rate them decently highly. Kobe Wilson, he's fine for a middle linebacker. I'm going to go D tier, though. Just nothing that really stands out about him. Troydan York, I think his name is Troydan. Yep, Troydan York up last. For Texas A&M, 81 speed, decent tackler. Again, just another average middle linebacker. So if you do want to use a core elite middle linebacker, Kobe King and Williams are the guys I probably recommend the most. But to me, what I'm trying to get across is just use these Legends cards or these. I'm gonna move Kendricks down because I like Urlacher and Lewis more than them. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the core elites are just very mediocre. If you want to ball in a budget, use 83 Ray Lewis. If you want a really good linebacker, Ray Lewis or Urlacher at B tier are really good, or Kendricks is solid at C tier. And if you want to spend up, these are the cards I definitely would recommend doing that. That's going to wrap it up for our video today, guys. Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comments. Drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new. And as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.